Wealth doesn't arrive in a thunderstorm of lottery wins or viral success. It sneaks in quietly, disguised as small choices made every single day. Choices so ordinary they almost look invisible, yet they stack on top of each other until one day the balance tips and everything changes. It's the person who skips the flashy car, but quietly funnels that money into an investment account. The worker who never announces that they're saving half their paycheck. The neighbor who seems average on the outside but behind closed doors is building a fortune brick by brick because their habits never stop working for them. These are the hidden routines that turn modest paychecks into massive nest eggs. The behaviors that separate those who constantly chase money from those who eventually have money chasing them. At first, they look small, barely noticeable, almost boring, but compounded over years, they become unstoppable. They transform normal lives into extraordinary ones, turning financial stress into financial power and uncertainty into freedom. What's coming isn't about loud, showy tricks. It's about quiet discipline, unseen moves, and the kind of habits that build a fortune in silence until one day the results are so big they can't be ignored. 1. Live below your means. The foundation of wealth is not how much you earn, but how much you keep. The quiet builders of fortune understand this better than anyone. They know that every dollar not spent is a soldier that can be sent out to work for them. Instead of stretching paychecks to match their desires, they shape their desires to fit their paychecks. Living below your means doesn't mean living without joy. It means building a life where your money works harder than your impulses. Over time, this creates a cushion of cash that multiplies, while others are left juggling bills. The ones who stay disciplined in this habit aren't the ones flashing luxury. They're the ones buying freedom. 2. Automate saving and investing. The wealthy don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. Automation turns financial discipline into a default setting. By treating saving and investing like a bill that must be paid first, it removes temptation from the equation entirely. Every paycheck, money moves silently into accounts that grow on autopilot. It feels effortless, yet the results are extraordinary. Because these transfers happen without thought, there's no wrestling with decisions, no wondering whether to skip it just this month. It simply happens. Decades later, this single habit alone can separate those who live paycheck to paycheck from those who retire with more than they ever imagined. 3. Avoid lifestyle inflation. When income rises, temptation follows. A raise feels like permission to upgrade. A nicer car, a bigger house, expensive dinners. But the ones who quietly grow rich see it differently. They capture the raise before it disappears. Instead of inflating their lifestyle, they lock in the difference and let it build wealth. The result is a widening gap between what they make and what they spend. A gap that fuels investments, savings, and long-term security. Those who fall for lifestyle inflation often end up with fancier toys but the same old worries. Those who resist, they build empires in silence. 4. Delay gratification. The richest rewards rarely arrive immediately. The habit of delaying gratification transforms fleeting pleasures into lasting prosperity. It's the discipline to say no to impulse and yes to the future. This habit isn't about denial, it's about choice. The short-term thrill of spending fades quickly, but the long-term satisfaction of financial freedom only grows stronger. Small sacrifices today, whether skipping a purchase, holding investments instead of selling, or resisting debt, compound into life-changing rewards tomorrow. The ability to wait, to endure discomfort now for abundance later, is one of the clearest dividing lines between those who build wealth and those who never see it. 5. Frugality without cheapness. There's a difference between pinching pennies out of fear and directing money with intention. True frugality is not about cutting everything. It's about cutting the unnecessary while pouring into what brings the highest value. Cheapness sacrifices quality to save a buck, but frugality ensures every dollar carries weight. The quietly rich know when to buy in bulk, when to repair instead of replace, and when to invest in something durable rather than buy something disposable. They aren't stingy, they're strategic. This balance allows them to enjoy life fully without leaking money in ways that never return value. 6. Continuous learning. The wealthiest people treat knowledge like currency. They devour books, attend seminars, listen to podcasts, and surround themselves with ideas that sharpen their skills. Every page read and every concept understood adds compound interest to their minds. Continuous learning isn't just about acquiring facts. It's about adapting, staying relevant, and opening doors that remain locked for those who stopped learning years ago. Because the world never stands still, those who keep feeding their minds never fall behind. Over time, what begins as curiosity transforms into expertise, and expertise turns into opportunities that pay dividends far greater than the cost of any book. 7. Multiple streams of income relying on one paycheck is like balancing on a single leg. It only takes one stumble to fall. Those who quietly build wealth diversify where their money comes from. They might start with a main job, but soon there's a side hustle, an online venture, a rental property, or investments generating dividends. One stream pays the bills, the others build freedom. Each new source of income is a layer of protection, a buffer against setbacks, and a multiplier of opportunities. With enough streams flowing together, they create a river that carries them to wealth without the panic of wondering what happens if one dries up. 8. Networking with purpose. Riches aren't built in isolation. The quietly wealthy are deliberate about the company they keep. They build connections not for show, but for growth. They spend time with people who are smarter, sharper, and further along the path, knowing that proximity to success rubs off. These relationships open doors to partnerships, opportunities, and ideas that would never surface in shallow circles. Networking with purpose isn't about collecting business cards. It's about surrounding yourself with the type of people who challenge you to rise higher. Over years, these bonds become the scaffolding that supports bigger ventures and greater wealth. 9. Value creation over hours worked. The wealthy understand that time is limited, but value can be infinite. They shift their focus from trading hours for dollars to creating solutions that scale far beyond their personal effort. It could be a business, a product, intellectual property, or a system, something that continues to generate money long after the work is done. The secret is leverage. One idea, one project, one piece of work that can serve thousands or even millions of people. While most clock in and out, the rich quietly build engines that run whether they're present or not. That's how fortunes are created, not through endless hours, but through outsized impact. And side hustle mentality. Even when secure in their careers, the wealthy cultivate a builder's mindset. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. A side hustle isn't just about extra cash. It's a testing ground for ideas, a laboratory for future ventures, and a training ground for financial independence. Some ventures fail, some barely break even, but each one teaches skills that can't be learned in a classroom. Over time, these small experiments stack, and occasionally one takes off, changing everything. The side hustle mentality keeps them flexible, ambitious, and hungry, while everyone else is content with a single paycheck. 11. Budgeting and tracking money slips away fastest when it goes unnoticed. The quietly wealthy keep a pulse on every dollar, not to obsess, but to stay aware. A budget isn't a prison, it's a blueprint. It shows where money is wasted and where it can be redirected to build something greater. By tracking spending, they cut off financial leaks before they drain wealth. This habit creates clarity, and clarity creates control. Over time, the numbers tell a story of progress, and what once felt restrictive becomes empowering because every line item is proof that their money is working for them, not against them. 12. Invest early and consistently. The greatest ally of wealth is time. Every investment made early carries decades of growth potential, multiplying quietly in the background. The wealthy don't chase timing, they chase consistency. Month after month, year after year, they put money into the market and let compounding do the heavy lifting. A small sum invested faithfully beats a fortune invested sporadically. This consistency builds unstoppable momentum, turning ordinary contributions into extraordinary results. When others marvel at how quickly their money grew, the secret isn't speed, it's patience. 13. Debt avoidance and smart credit use. Debt can either be a tool or a trap. The quietly wealthy know the difference. They avoid high-interest chains that crush freedom, steering clear of credit card balances and loans that only enrich the lender. But when debt can be leveraged to build assets, like buying property or funding a venture, they use it strategically, always with discipline. Their credit is pristine, their interest costs minimal, and their liabilities carefully chosen. While others bury themselves in monthly payments, they use debt like a lever, multiplying wealth without ever letting it control them. 14. Emergency fund surprise expenses are the wrecking balls of financial stability. The wealthy prepare for them long before they arrive. An emergency fund isn't glamorous, but it is powerful. It shields them from panic, prevents desperate decisions, and allows them to weather storms without touching investments or taking on debt. With this safety net in place, setbacks become inconveniences instead of disasters. It's a habit built quietly in the background, often overlooked by others, yet it's the silent protector that keeps long-term wealth on track when life throws its inevitable curveballs. 15. Long-term vision. The final habit that quietly makes people rich is perspective. The wealthy think in decades, not days. They measure success not by quick wins, but by steady progress. Every choice, from investments to spending, is weighed against the future they're building. This long-term vision keeps them steady when markets swing, when temptations arise, when doubt creeps in. While others chase trends, they stay anchored. Over years, this patience becomes their superpower, allowing them to achieve outcomes so significant that they seem almost inevitable. Because in the end, wealth is not a sprint. It's a marathon run quietly, step by step, habit by habit. Wealth doesn't arrive with a bang. It builds in silence, choice by choice, habit by habit. These 15 principles aren't flashy, they aren't loud, and they aren't complicated. They're quiet disciplines, hidden in plain sight, practiced daily by those who understand that true freedom is not in showing wealth, but in owning it. Living below your means, automating savings, resisting lifestyle creep, delaying gratification, being frugal with purpose, these are the cornerstones. Pair them with relentless learning, multiple streams of income, powerful networks, leverage of value, and a side hustle mentality, and suddenly the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Layer on sharp money management, budgeting, investing, managing debt wisely, preparing for emergencies, and keeping a vision set decades into the future. And you have a blueprint that transforms financial stress into financial strength. Most people will overlook these habits because they're not glamorous, but those who embrace them will watch as their wealth compounds in silence until one day it speaks louder than they ever imagined. The choice is simple. Keep chasing quick wins, or commit to the quiet habits that build unstoppable fortunes. The sooner you begin, the sooner the compounding starts working in your favor, and the sooner you step into the kind of freedom that can't be faked, borrowed, or stolen. It can only be built.